A very good afternoon and welcome back to Oestersund for the second race of the day. The women's sprint coming up shortly. It's their first sprint of the season. All the local fans waiting to see if Helena Jonsson can do the double and win 2 successive World Cup races. We'll have to wait for at least an hour and a half to find that out. And great conditions with lots and lots of snow. The race this morning, well, everyone thought it was going to be about the likes of GREIS and BJOERNDALEN. As it turned out, the double world champion Emil Svendsen was on fantastic form. Very interesting to see how he paced himself in this race. He skied well, but not overdoing it in the first 2 loops and saved something extraordinary for the last loop. Other contenders, well, Tomasz SIKORA was expected to go well. This is Svendsen, who drew an early bib number. I think that was favourable today. A little bit of snow during the race. Now Svendsen in to shoot, settling for his prone shoot in 8:30, which was some 5-6 seconds slower than the likes of ANDRESEN and SIKORA. All 5 going down for Svendsen at his first visit, and that no doubt setting the pulse racing as he started to think about more victories here in Oestersund. He claimed 2 golds in the World Championships earlier in the year, and he left the range with a time of 9:06.6, 1.8 quicker than Valliulin. It was bettered, but not by much. Einar BJOERNDALEN 7 seconds slower than Svendsen to settle on the shooting mat, but every bit as accurate. Well, BJOERNDALEN obviously not on full power at the moment. He too, over the last couple of years, has adopted this policy of skiing steady on the first lap, build it on the second and give it everything on the third. He doesn't always have a huge amount of give on the third. Yaroshenko was one of the big names. He started first and got to the shooting range for his second shoot in first position. One miss was to prove very expensive to him. Valliulin, one of the other big names who led at the first shoot for a while. Also struggled with that third shot, but put 4 out of 5 down. Most of the top athletes clearing at least 9 today. Mickey GREIS, after his victory in the individual, shooting 19 out of 20, was a man who was certainly tipped to clear all 10 targets. His shooting time, or his skiing time, I should say, just about the same as Einar BJOERNDALEN. He was lucky on his 5th shot with a 50-50 hit, but enough to tip the falling plate target. And GREIS came out of the range after his first visit, chasing that time of 9:06 from Svendsen, but just marginally outside it. 9:08.2, very much in the hunt at this stage. Halvard HANEVOLD, silver medalist from the World Championships last year, settling on his prone shoot as Svendsen, his teammate, prepared for the standing shoot. Svendsen clean to start with. Number 5 is always hard, and Svendsen found it particularly tough. That went wide, and it really set up a fantastic race, because Svendsen then found himself just marginally off the fastest pace. 9:13 from HANEVOLD in the prone position was very respectable. In fact, at 9:17 by the time he stopped the clock. Svendsen, his time at the first shoot, better than anyone else's up to this stage. Wolf shooting very, very fast and putting in a good performance. So Wolf joining the top performers after the first shoot, along with GREIS and Iroshenko. He got himself into fourth place. Svendsen really did blast around that last loop. At this stage, we didn't know how good it was, but in the end, turned out to be a good 15 seconds faster than everyone else over the last 3.3 kilometers. 44 inside the previous fastest time. Threats were to come from behind, though. BJOERNDALEN failed to make it. Moved into second place when he finished, soon to be pushed down the order. The champion from last year, Tomasz, an astonishing start. He started late, had a draw in group number 3, but the first loop was faster than anyone else. GREIS, 2 misses on the standing shoot, cost him dearly. 57 seconds behind. He would have been in between Svendsen and BJOERNDALEN had he gone clear on the last shoot. Simon Foucault, the best and the first good result from the French this year so far. 26.10. He got himself into second place, taking the scalp of last year's champion, BJOERNDALEN. SIKORA, 1 miss in the standing shoot, cost him a chance of victory. Left the range in front of Svendsen, but was soon overhauled. In the end, some 12.7 seconds down on Svendsen, the double world champion. SIKORA's pacing today, not quite perfect. So here are the results of the men's race. In fact, these are the standings from the 2 races held so far. Svendsen goes to the top of the table, GREIS in second, SIKORA in third place. Good start to the season for the pole. We're going to take a quick break here on Eurosport. We'll be back with the start of the women's sprint. That's coming up in just a few moments' time. Stay with us. The scenes in Oestersund Stadium just before the start of the women's sprint event. German team all getting their rifles and skis checked. Helena Jonsson is the young lady attracting all the attention of the media at the moment, having taken victory in the individual event on Thursday. So a good crowd turning out for this event. Certainly Swedish victory has boosted the attendance figures. Norway looking to complete a good run of results in the cross-country skiing and biathlon. They already have the 2 cross-country events under their belt. They, of course, took victory in the men's sprint with Svendsen. Can they overhaul the Germans, Russians, French in this women's sprint to make it 4 out of 4? I think it's unlikely. Germany are the favourites to win here today, despite the fact that Jonsson won 2 days ago. And I think Hegle, who starts number 1, could well be the lady to do it. Remember the women's distance, 7.5 kilometres, 2.5 kilometre loops. They go around that 3 times, 2 shoots, just as in the men's. First in the prone, second in the standing when the legs are getting shaky. We've got a start list of 105 athletes. Germany's Hegle, the world champion in both the sprint and the pursuit, will get the race underway in just a moment. Oestersund hosting the first round of the Biathlon World Cups for the 2008-2009 season. The individuals 2 days ago for the women. Today they go over the shorter distance, the 7.5 kilometre sprint. No room for errors with such a strong field. Hegle knows that as well as anyone else. So away she goes. And just watch her for speed. I think we'll see her take the first lap reasonably steady, and then she will start to wind it up. Third in the overall World Cup last year. She won it the previous year. Just run out of steam at the end of the season in Oslo. Otherwise, it could so easily have been hers. Letla of Estonia, a 23-year-old with a personal best of 20th. If she matches that today, it really would be a good start to the season and set her on her way for a top season. Let's hope that's the way it turns out. But it's a tall order because there are so many strong teams here. And at this stage of the season, the field is that much bigger. All the top teams trying to decide who has or who should have the honour of representing their country as the season goes on, and the IBU cut the permitted numbers in each race. Oksana Noipakova of Russia. Only one Russian in Group 1, which indicates that they feel from the weather reports that Groups 2 and 3 are going to be the fastest today. Noipakova, 32, so by no means at the end of her career. Zhengying Liu, like all the Chinese biathletes and all their cross-country skiers, they train in Dalian, and what a start she had. 6th on Thursday, shooting 19 out of 20 in the individual race to get herself a very, very good position indeed. If she goes clear today, it'll be interesting to see what she can do with her ski speed, which is maybe 4% or so below the fastest. Andrea Marley, that was Martina Beck, formerly Martina Glago, getting ready. This is Marley, looks fairly relaxed. She's had plenty of experience, but hopefully her shooting performance from the individual is a long way from her mind. 1, 3, 2, 2, a total of 8 misses in all for Marley, pushing her right down outside the top 70. Number 10 is Bonnevie Svendsen of Norway, certainly a potential top 5 finisher today. Kudrasheva, who missed the end of the season last year, doesn't necessarily have an effect on the beginning of the next season, but never quite sure. Doesn't look too well balanced using the skate 2 technique, not really getting the weight over the left leg or not getting the hip far enough to the outside. Now Zhu Dong, what can she manage? One of the younger Chinese athletes at 22. Nice start in the event on Thursday, and I think she will have taken some encouragement from that. It's been the shooting that's been the problem over the last couple of years for the Chinese, but they do have so much potential, as does this woman, Martina Beck, as she is now known. Of course, former overall World Cup winner. Won in 2003, 13 World Cup wins to her name. There aren't many more successful women on the tour or who have been on the tour, and she knows all about this game. Yesterday, or Thursday I should say, was really her big chance. The individual is where she shines, but if she gets it right in a sprint, she's as dangerous as anyone. Now, let's see the split time for Henkel. 1.3 kilometres. They've shortened the descent, so a slightly shorter climb for the women up to this point. The men at this stage were at 1.9, but of course they raced over a longer course. 2.5 kilometres the distance for the women for each loop. Anna Maria Nielsen just setting out. Jonsson, the Swedish favourite, goes at 42, so another 10 minutes or so before she even puts her skis on, and then it will be 5 minutes before she's called across the line. What can Bonnevie Svendsen do today? 1 minute slower than the fastest, over 15 kilometres, so I guess from that we can assume she'll be within 30 seconds of the fastest today. And that really is just one penalty loop, so a clear shoot, and we could see Bonnevie Svendsen just knocking on the door of the podium steps. Noipakova. Nice high tempo. The piste here, the tracks here have been very well prepared. We haven't had quite as much snow as they've had down in La Clusaz. Thank goodness, otherwise they'd be up to their knees. But they've been out all night compressing the tracks. You can see they're nice and firm, certainly compared to Wednesday when this World Cup got underway. This is Liu. Can she match the fastest time of Henkel at 3:45? No, she can't, but not so far outside. 9.1 seconds, a steady